he wants to unite the party. How can he do that when your former Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, doesn't even have the grace to wish him well?
I think, do you know what we've seen? We've seen him elected, appointed by our parliamentary party unanimously. You know, we've got behind him. If you'd been in that room yesterday when the 1922 met, you would see the warmth with which we welcome this man, because we know he's got the skills, we know he's got the intellect, we know he's got the commitment to get on with the job and deliver in what are very, very tough times.
And clearly he's saying that economic stability, integrity, professionalism, accountability needed to get that through. That would indicate he doesn't think that was actually in government before.
I think, do you know what? We've had some of the toughest and most trying of times in government, all of the challenges that have come our way. I was elected in 2019. I didn't foresee the COVID pandemic. I didn't see the war in Ukraine. I didn't see all of these things coming down. And to be honest, he's took on a big job today, has Rishi Sunak. It's probably one of the most challenging situations that a Prime Minister can come to office, I think. And I think he's the right guy for the job. And in fact, the parliamentary party behind me think he's the man for the job. So let's see what he's got to offer.
And he talks about tough decisions which need to be made to restore economic credibility. It is possible that your constituents won't like some of those tough decisions. If they're cutting public services, for example, if they're not raising benefits in line with inflation, if they're not keeping defence spending rising at a sufficient rate. What advice would you give him? What do your voters want him to do when it comes to the economy?
I think, do you know what? I think Boris is. I think Rishi is the man for the job. He understands the setting. He understands the situation. He's had the keys to that economy for some time before, and he rose to the challenge. He delivered for the most vulnerable people in society, and I think he's the guy for the job now.
Now, I
think people in my patch also understand they don't want.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I was saying you're Deputy Chairman of the Conservative Party as well, and clearly one of the first things he's got to do now is put this cabinet together. Big tent cabinet is one of the phrases that we've heard. I'm not quite sure what that means, but clearly he's got to be very careful how he sort of gets the One Nation, the ERG, all these various groups together, bearing in mind he's not got perhaps the support of a lot of party faithful. They've not had a chance to vote for him this time.
Do you know what? I was the deputy chair of the party and chose not to go with that, not to take an appointment in the Liz Truss government. But do you know what? What we saw yesterday was a unanimous party coming together, all wings of that party, some of the biggest beasts in our party. And in the end, Boris decided not to run. Penny's got behind him. Everybody's got behind him. They know that Rishi is the man for the job, and we're going to get on with it.
So we sort of know Rishi Sunak because he's been in such a prominent position. But I'm sure you can tell us more about him. You know him personally. You will see him in the tea room. He's your colleague. Is there anything that we might not know about Rishi Sunak?
Do you know what? Well, so I was Rishi's agent in 2014 before he even became an MP. I've got to see him work his way through into being an MP and the jobs that he's done down here. And actually, I learned very quickly that he was a guy who was very committed to the job, who was up to whatever it might take, and a guy with incredible intellect. You know, he arrived in North Yorkshire, went out with farmers. By the end of the day, he was the guy who knew everything about farming, knows the challenges that those people faced. He was a guy who wanted to understand the world around him and wanted to make a difference. And I'm sure that is what he's going to do as Prime Minister.
Well, clearly a lot of people behind you getting excited at this particular event as well. But looking forward now with the job in hand, Sir Christopher Chope saying, you know, you should be going to the country, try and settle all this for once. But, I mean, that might mean annihilation for you. So does he have the full 2 years, and can he get the economy back on track in that period?
If anybody can get the economy back on track, it's Rishi. I think the last thing this country wants now is a general election. We went through the summer with a leadership debate. Now it's time to get on with the job, get it done. There's all sorts of challenges there, whether it's the war in Ukraine, whether it's the upheaval in our economy. We need to get on with the job, focus on it and deliver for the people of this country.